You're standing at a party with 50 people. The music is loud, everyone is laughing, yet you feel completely alone. Not just alone, you feel even lonelier than when you're actually sitting by yourself in your room. Strange, isn't it? You're surrounded by people, yet your body is sending you a clear danger signal. You're isolated. Logic tells you that's impossible. You're literally in a room full of people, but the real explanation is much stranger than that. Loneliness isn't about how many people are around you. It's about something entirely different, something your brain calculates using an ancient system that existed long before parties, cities, or even language. Here's how your brain sees it. 1,000,000 years ago, humans didn't survive alone. They lived in small groups of about 20 to 50 people who knew one another deeply and depended on each other for everything: food, protection, raising children, and surviving the night. A group like that wasn't a social luxury. It was a condition for survival. If you became separated from your group, you'd probably die within days. A predator, the cold, starvation, any one of those could end your life. That's why your brain evolved to constantly monitor one question: are you truly connected to the people around you? Not whether you're physically near them, but whether you're genuinely connected. Researcher John Cacioppo, who devoted much of his career to studying loneliness, reached a conclusion that changed our understanding of it. Loneliness isn't simply an emotion like sadness or boredom. It's a biological alarm, almost identical to hunger or thirst. When you feel hungry, your body tells you to eat. When you feel lonely, your brain tells you to connect with others. The problem is that this alarm system was designed for a world completely different from the one you live in today. Think about that party. You're surrounded by 50 people, but how many of them truly know you? How many would notice if you disappeared? How many could you call at 3 in the morning and know they'd answer? Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, famous for what's now known as Dunbar's number, studied ancient human groups and modern tribes and found something remarkably consistent across cultures. The human brain can maintain about 150 meaningful, stable relationships, not more. This isn't arbitrary. It's linked to the size of a region in your brain called the prefrontal cortex, which helps you keep track of who trusts you, who owes you, and who might betray you. But those 150 relationships aren't all equally important. Dunbar divided them into layers. Only 5 people belong to your innermost circle, the people you'd trust with your life. Around 15 are close friends. About 50 are good acquaintances. The rest are more distant connections, people you know but don't truly rely on. Now here's the important question. When you're standing in a room with 50 strangers, your brain evaluates the situation using that ancient survival system. It asks, how many of these people belong to my inner circle? If the answer is 0, the alarm goes off. Not because you're awkward, not because something is wrong with you, but because, from your brain's perspective, you're surrounded by strangers in an environment with no real protection. It interprets that as danger, even if no actual danger exists. Why doesn't your brain distinguish between 50 people who know you and 50 complete strangers? Because, evolutionarily speaking, that distinction is incredibly new. Your ancestors rarely encountered strangers, and when they did, it usually meant danger. An unfamiliar face often belonged to someone from another tribe who could threaten the group. So your brain evolved to associate unfamiliar faces with risk, not opportunity. Now compare that with modern life. Every day you see hundreds of unfamiliar faces on the subway, at work, on social media, thousands of faces, and your brain tries to process every one of them using the same ancient system that evolved for a tiny village. The result? Constant social exhaustion, even when you're not talking to anyone. Another important study comes from researcher Robert Putnam, who examined how American social relationships changed over decades. He described a phenomenon often summarized as bowling alone. People still did the same activities they always had, but they did them alone. They bowled alone instead of joining a team. They watched television alone instead of gathering with neighbors. The activities remained. The genuine human connection disappeared. Society became full of activity without connection. And that's exactly what's happening at the party. The music is there. The laughter is there. The movement is there. but the connection your brain is actually searching for isn't. That's why you can feel lonelier in a crowd than when you're sitting alone at home. When you're alone, your brain has nothing to compare. By people without meaningful connection, it compares constantly and keeps finding the gap. Does that mean technology is the cause? Not exactly. Technology has exposed the problem more than it created it. Social media lets us see hundreds of faces every day and gives us the illusion of connection through likes, comments, and quick messages. But the deep connection your brain needs, the kind that once kept your ancestors alive, can't be built with a like. It takes time, accumulated trust, shared experiences, real presence. There's another strange detail. Loneliness actually makes your brain more sensitive to social threats, not less. If you've been lonely for a long time, you'll begin interpreting ordinary interactions as rejection. Your coworker doesn't reply quickly? Your brain concludes they don't want to talk to you. A friend forgets to call for a day. Your brain decides they're tired of you. This doesn't mean you're weak or overly sensitive. It means the biological alarm that once protected your ancestors from dying alone in the wilderness is now working overtime in a world that no longer resembles that wilderness. The solution isn't to attend more parties. The number of people isn't the problem. The solution is understanding that your brain doesn't count people. It measures depth. 5 genuine relationships protect your brain far more than 50 superficial ones. The message you send to an old friend just to ask how they're doing. The half-hour phone call instead of a quick text. The years you spend investing in the same people. Those are the things that truly quiet the alarm. So the next time you feel lonely in a crowd, don't blame yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. You're carrying a million-year-old brain that's trying to protect you, using a system designed for a village of 50 people, not a city of millions of strangers. The alarm isn't telling you that you're socially unsuccessful. It's telling you something much simpler. Go look for real connection, not just a crowd. You're standing in the same party where we began. The music is still loud. Everyone is still laughing. But now you're seeing the scene differently. You're not lonely because there's something wrong with you. You're lonely because your ancient brain is trying to protect you in a world it was never designed for.